Hello YouTube. Today we're gonna mess with the Camaro some. We're gonna mess with the manual boost controller. And the reason for that is not really getting much adjustability out of the manual boost controller. Now before, I'm trying to dial in a 650 index. And before I went to a modified race and I told myself I'm dialing in 650 no matter what. And I actually ran 6.499 and then 6.50 something like 6 times in a row. I was like, whoa, I got it dialed in perfect. We come to find out this hose where it gets the boost pressure from the turbo had burnt and it was restricting the flow. And I knew that was going to burn more and more. So I took it off, and the push lock hose I had on it was this real flexible stuff. So I used this more rigid stuff, and it don't seem to be burning now. But since there's not a restriction there, I've been having a hard time getting it dialed back into 650. I mean, I got the boost controller turned all the way up. I mean, right there it starts losing clicks, and I'm at like, that's about 65 clicks. And I was able to get it to run 654 to 658 and 3000 DA. But initially I'd had the push locks on it. Now the push locks were letting all the air through. The more air that goes through there, the less boost you make. And then these are actually supposed to have these on there. I put these on there. They got a really small nipple in them. See, they've got a real small hole in them that helps restrict the flow. And I thought that would fix it, but even with it like that, and that hose fixed now, I'm still not getting the adjustability that I need. Because if you turn this all the way down with the springs that are in the wastegate, I forgot what springs are in it, it'll run a 6.7 if you turn this all the way down. See, plus boost, minus boost. It'll run a 6.7 with it turned all the way down. Turned all the way up, it'll run a 6.5 something. Now, if you take this pressure away from the wastegate, it'll run a 6.2. So I'm losing 3/10 on the controller. And let me explain to you how these wastegates work. These wastegates, they got a diaphragm right in the middle. Now, that boost pressure comes in and it pushes on that diaphragm and helps open this valve in here to let the boost out, which lowers the boost pressure. Now, when you take that pressure away, there's nothing helping open this except for the boost pressure that's coming through here. It'll push up on that valve some, but when you take that pressure away from this bottom port, which I think is down here, yeah. When you take that pressure away from this bottom port, there's nothing help opening this to bleed off the boost pressure. So you get it max boost for the spring you got in it. Say you got a 7-pound spring, you're supposed to get no pressure to the bottom helping open it. You'll get 14 pounds of boost theoretically. And then with boost pressure going to the bottom trying to help open it, you'll get 7 pounds of boost. It never works that way on both mine and Chris's car. With a 7-pound spring, I think we got 5 to 11 pounds of boost. 5 pounds with boost pressure pushing up on the wastegate diaphragm, and then 10, 11 with no pressure going to the bottom of the wastegate. But that's how they work. And then if you got a boost controller, a boost controller tries to regulate how much goes to the bottom to try to open it, and how much goes to the top to try to help keep it closed. I don't use the top one. I just use the bottom one with the manual boost controller. And this manual boost controller, it regulates how much pressure goes to the bottom of that wastegate to help open the wastegate to lower the pressure. So, or I said that wrong. So if you turn this all the way counterclockwise, see the minus sign, counterclockwise, it lowers the boost. And how it does that is it lets all that boost pressure coming off this line of the turbo comes up, comes through, goes to the bottom of the wastegates, and helps opens them, lowers the boost pressure. Now, as you open this up, what it does is some of that boost pressure comes in here, and then it escapes out a hole. I forget where the hole's at, but it escapes out the hole, so less pressure is trying to go through here to help open the wastegates. The less pressure trying to help open the wastegates, the more boost you make. Now, these things come with a check ball and a spring that goes in this side, the side that the pressure comes in at. And I don't have that in there. According to Turbosmart's directions, you only need to take that out if you're having boost spikes. But now, you can blow through this thing without the ball. Where's the ball? There's the ball and the spring. Now, with the ball and the spring in there, you can't even blow through this thing. So I'm going to put the ball and spring back in here and see if it gives us more adjustment. And this Friday, we're going to go test and tune and try to dial it back into 650 index with the ball and spring in it. And then Saturday, Kentucky Dragway's having a 6.5 index race. We're going to do a 650 index race. So it's Sunday, so that's, you know, Friday we'll test and tune, and Saturday we'll do the 650 index race, and maybe even the modified race. But with the push lock fittings on there, with these push lock fittings on there, I wasn't hardly getting no adjustment out of this. I did get some, but not much. When I put the restrictor nipple, and the restrictor nipple just goes on this side where the boost comes in, I did get more adjustability out of it, but not near as much as I should. So we're going to try the check ball and the spring and see if we can get more adjustability out of this. Like I said, turned all the way down, we'll run a 6.7 in the 8th, and then with it turned all the way out, it runs 6.5 something. And then if you take this line away, so nothing's going through here to try to help open the wastegates, we'll get full boost for the springs we have in it, and it runs a 6.2. So that's 0.3 of adjustment I should be able to get out of that I'm not getting. Hopefully this check ball and spring will help with that. But come this Friday, test and tune, and we'll see. I took that off from down there, and see this hose, this more sturdy hose, it ain't melting, so that's a good thing. But yeah, the reason I fixed this is because if that kept melting, the boost would just kept going up, and it wouldn't have been consistent. So I had to fix this. But unfortunately, now that I fixed it, 653 is as close as I've got to 650 now in this air, which the air is pretty bad. But that had to be fixed. But now we need to make this work better so we can adjust better. Or I need to just get a better boost controller. That's probably what I should do. Get a better boost controller. You can get boost controllers that'll go to the top and bottom, and they'll use boost pressure to control the boost. That's probably the best thing to do, but I'm cheap. I'm cheap. All right, here we go. Here's how we have ours set up. It comes from the turbo, comes up through the boost controller, and then it goes to the bottom port on each wastegate. Like right here, we've got the external wastegates. These are the internal wastegate actuators. But yeah, we basically just teed and went to the bottom of both wastegates. So the manual boost controller, the spring controls the boost and how much boost comes through this pipe. Like I was saying before, it comes through this pipe. There's a diaphragm here. It pushes up on that diaphragm, and it opens this valve, and boost pressure comes out. So if you got this turned all the way minus, it's letting all that pressure from the turbo go through here to open this, and then you only make as much pressure or boost as the spring you've got in it. Like a 7-pound spring will make 5 to 7 pounds of boost. And then that same 7-pound spring, if you dial this all the way back plus boost, the boost pressure comes up here, and then it comes out a hole on this manual boost controller, and then hardly nothing's going here to help open this, so this valve stays closed, and then you make all the boost. All the boost goes through there, and that's how that works. But like I mentioned before that rubber line melted, and it was restricting, and I just had those push locks on this manual boost controller, so I thought for sure when I fixed that melted line and put this restrictor nipple on there, it'd give me a bunch of adjustment, but it didn't. It gave me a little bit of adjustment. It'd give me a little bit more adjustment, but oddly enough, when my line was burnt going into the turbo and it restricted the line itself coming out of the turbo, that's when I got the most adjustment out of this thing. But the restrictor nipple helped a little. It didn't help a lot. Now we're trying this gate ball and this gate spring to see if that helps any. But right here it says boost spiking. If boost spiking occurs and is undesirable for your application, the gate system can be removed to give you less aggressive boost curve. This modification is only required in minimal number of applications. So I'm not sure that that's going to help us any, honestly. But we'll see Friday when we go to the track. Alright, as the diagram I just showed you, the restrictor, or the restrictor nipples on here, and then the check ball and the spring are in here, and I'm going to put it on 30 clicks. 30 clicks is where it started to run that number. We turned it up to like 60 something. It didn't make a difference. So now at 30 clicks, hopefully it'll run faster than that. If it does, that means we got adjustability. If it don't, that means it didn't do nothing and we need to get a better boost controller. Being I was sitting here at the computer watching this video, I had the most adjustability when that line melted at the turbo, where the pressure comes out of the turbo itself. That's when it had the most adjustability. If this check ball and spring doesn't help any, I think it should, but at the same time I don't think it will. But if it don't, I'm thinking maybe that other restrictor nipple I got, maybe put it on the turbo, you know, and restrict it coming out of the turbo as well. If the check ball and spring don't work, we'll try that next. But I'd like to, if I could get the adjustability for the springs in it, the complete adjustability for the springs in it, 6.2 in the 1/8 to 6.7 in the 1/8, that would be awesome just by clicking that knob. But unfortunately, for the springs in it, I'm only getting 6.5 to 6.7. Now I could try to put a little bit more stiffer, maybe 1 or 2 pound stiffer spring than what's already in it, and maybe that'll put me at a window of 6.4 to 6.6. That's an option as well. But if I go bracket racing, I want to be able to turn it all the way down, because there ain't no sense turning it all the way up for bracket racing. I don't, 6.7, I don't even really want to run a 6.7 bracket racing. There ain't no sense beating on the motor bracket racing, because consistency wins bracket racing. It's not how fast you go. But what do you guys think? Hit the comments.